I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, the podcast where we discuss female-driven films through an inclusive feminist lens, with the help of the 1988 film Heathers. Paid in Puke is hosted by Jessica Baxter, Amy Green, and Christina Barr. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, we're talking about Amy Heckerling's 1995 comedy Clueless, a high school movie that's loosely based on Jane Austen's Emma. Clueless stars Alicia Silverstone, Brittany Murphy, and Stacey Dash.
So, okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? And it's like, when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? People came that, did not RSVP. So I was, totally bugging. I had to haul ass to the kitchen, squish in extra place settings, and, people were on mismatched chairs and all. But by the end of the day, it was the more, the merrier. And so, if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians.
Wow. You guys talk like grown-ups.
Oh, well, this is a really good school.
Mr. Hall was way harsh. He gave me a C-.
Well, he gave me a C, which drags down my entire average.
Hello? There was a stop sign?
I totally paused. You try driving in platforms.
Oh, should I write them a note?
Ew! Get off of me!
As if. Cher's got attitude about high school boys.
It's a personal choice every woman has got to make for themselves.
Cher's saving herself for Luke Perry.
Cher, you're a virgin?
I mean, I'm not prude. I'm just highly selective. I mean, you see how picky I am about my shoes, and they only go on my feet.
Nice stems.
Thanks.
What the hell is that?
A dress.
Says who?
Calvin Klein.
What are you doing? Yo, you getting on the freeway! Get out of the freeway!
Amber, my plastic surgeon doesn't want me doing any activity where balls fly at my nose.
Well, there goes your social life.
I'm gonna be a supermodel.
I'm Jessica Baxter.
I'm Amy Green.
I'm Christina Barr.
And joining us to discuss this one-of-a-kind film is Katie Lee Ellison. Katie, what is your connection to the Clueless?
Oh my god. Such a long question. I mean,
okay.
My connection to Clueless, I grew up in LA. I think I saw it at the West Side Pavilion, but if it wasn't the West Side Pavilion, it was an outdoor mall in the Valley. And I went with my little sister and my uncle, and it was a very tumultuous summer. So it was this safe haven. Also, my parents used to make movies. My uncle was an actor.
Oh, wow.
So, there was always this, overlap of reality and fantasy. And going to see Clueless was, this perfect little escape. I could go on for a very long time.
How many times did you see it in the theater, do you think?
Only once.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a special treat. And I don't know that I would have wanted to go see it a second time in the theater. I've seen it a million times since. But the theater experience of the candy and the soda and my uncle laughing very loud at parts that I didn't understand because I was only 10. And then actually watching it again last night, I got the specific reference point for why we went shopping afterward. The white patent leather Mary Janes when Christian picks up her pen for her in that classroom scene. As soon as we left the movie, just walking toward the car and past a store, and I was like, can we go in? And so we went in, and I was only 10, but I tried on these 2.5-inch white patent leather Mary Jane heels. And they were amazing. And my uncle was somebody who would shop the fuck out out of everything, would not buy a suit unless he had been to like 16 locations in New York and waited for the Barney sale twice a year and like, knew the brand and the cut and the make and the color and the fabric and the everything. But for whatever reason, and I think I know why, like that was kind of a rough summer, he was just kind of like, do you want him? And I was like, yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? I wore them twice. I could barely walk in them. Of course. But I had my little Clueless shoes.
I love it. Well, so what do you love about the movie?
So many things. And then also in the past few years, I feel like all the classics have sort of had like little chinks put in them with new and different perspectives, and I like definitely want to talk about all that.
Yeah.
But what do I love about the movie? I feel like in some ways for its time it was very aware for like a mainstream movie, and it took on a lot of like heavy subjects with a lot of levity. That has its pros and cons too. Did it go deep enough? No. Like whatever, but we'll discuss. I think really what I loved about it was that I know basically every street that's in the movie. Like if you know cool. LA, if you know those streets, it really felt like I could put myself, it was like full delusion fantasy mode of like living as Cher, watching that movie the first time. And then even since, like, it's just such a familiar setting to me. And then also just the like obsession with clothing. Like I fucking love clothes. I'm teaching a class on clothes in November. I'm very compelled by the selves that we create with clothes, and that closet of hers is like, oh my god.
Is this like an Oxima commercial or what? But seriously, I actually have a way normal life for a teenage girl. I mean, I get up, I brush my teeth, and I pick out my school clothes.
The people you could be.
Yeah.
And have like a computer create that person too. Like very like prescient. What do I love about the movie? I don't know. It's just so perfectly cast. It's hilarious still. Yeah. So many things.
Awesome. We can start with some hot probs, and then we'll go into the compliment section.
Shut up. Hot probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah.
Do you have anything that rubs you the wrong way about it?
I mean, I want to hear from you guys, too. I have a whole list of stuff. Yeah. The thing that's been sticking out in my mind, like a list of things that didn't hold up, watching it last night and, like, noting. But I remember at some point during, like, deep quarantine pandemic, seeing on Twitter, and I think it was Saeed Jones, but I don't know for certain. I don't want to call him out, so don't hold him or me to that. But I remember seeing something on Twitter about how, like, everyone goes apeshit for this movie and how, like, with it is and prescient or whatever, but there are all kinds of, like, pieces left out and that, like, by omission are not doing service to a lot of people and also, like, maybe doing harm. Just, like, throughout the movie. Like, the ones that I was able to note, there's, like, the suicide moment when Travis gets a bad report card and, like, tries to jump out the window.
Now, could all conversations please come to a halt? And could the suicide attempts please be postponed till the next period?
Which, like, it's hilarious, but it's also like, lol, suicide, you know? Teenage suicide.
Yeah, like, why does he care about his grade that much? There's usually a dark reason why a kid cares about their grades, and it's not usually because they're holding themselves to a high standard.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a million different reasons. I don't know. Is suicide the joke here? It just feels a little tricky. And then that suck and blow moment when Elton forces the kiss on Cher.
God, Elton, can you suck?
Gross, disgusting, and then just him in general. Oh my god.
I was super impressed with my 9-year-old, actually, who, as soon as he saw that guy, he was like, I don't like that guy. I don't trust him. The twist is that they're an asshole.
I mean, I don't mind that that's in there, because I feel like a lot of times in that era, or even before that, that kind of thing is presented as like, like you got pranked, kind of, you know, like date rape is like I got you, you know, whereas this is presented as he is an asshole, like he's a bad guy, even though she doesn't realize it as early as we do, you know, but I mean, I don't mind that it's there because it's not presented as like, look at this cool guy, he got his kiss, you know.
When I was watching it last night, I was like, wow, Elton is shitty, you know? And like, when I was watching it for the first time, I thought Jeremy Sisto was like the cutest guy in the movie. I don't know. Maybe that just went over my head. Watching it now, and I'm like, God, that guy fucking sucks.
I feel like he did have some sort of like heartthrob cachet at the time. And maybe this is what put him in that status. So it was like an interesting casting. Oh, you expect him to be this sweet romantic lead, but then he ends up being a predator.
I see like Amy Heckerling making a lot of feminist statements about men, but the thing is, especially with that whole Elton thing, and I guess like this is what needed to happen in order for the movie to be what it is, like the category that it is. But I remember watching as a kid, none of that really even registered. And when she got out of the car, it was just like, God, he's being such an asshole. And Cher has to like defend her friend by getting out of the car.
You know, I don't get you, Cher. I mean, you flirt with me all year.
As if. I have been trying to get you together with Ty.
Ty? Why would I go with Ty?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Don't you even know who my father is?
Ugh, you are a snob and a half.
Cher, listen to me. Me and Ty, we don't make any sense. Right? Me and you? Well, I mean, that makes sense.
It didn't even occur to me at the time to see the depth of what was happening and the ways that he was pushing himself on her all night long.
Yeah.
That didn't even cross my radar. I think that that's something that could be a little more, I mean, you don't want it to be too on the nose, and I appreciate the ways that she also like pokes fun at PC language and whatever throughout the movie. And there is this like light tone throughout that you have to maintain to put that in there and then not. Again, it's like by omission. What you're not saying allows it to just be on a huge screen without being collectively called out as like fucked up. You know, we see Elton face no consequences.
Totally.
And I mean, he just continues to look like an asshole, but so what?
But that guy's definitely going to go on to commit many sex crimes.
Right, yeah.
Because, you're right. He's not sorry for anything. No one called him out, really.
Yeah.
She just removed herself from that situation and decided he's not good for Ty anymore.
Yeah. And like similarly with that very split-second Travis moment of which you could make lots of or nothing at all because you're not given much. Like, he plays the character of this outcast, messy, maybe troubled pothead, and he's the one who wants to jump out the window. What is, like, the undercurrent of this set of stereotypes and, like, tropes that we're receiving?
He's always being pushed to the grassy knoll over there.
Could you shove down a little bit?
No. Hello. Don't the slackers prefer that grassy knoll over there?
They're so mean to him. That's kind of
He's
fucked
so
up.
charming. I love him. But he does join a 12-step program at the end, you know.
I wasn't sure about that. I don't need it anymore, but far be it for me to deny anyone else, you know? Oh, I wanted to tell you something. I'm sorry about your shoes.
What shoes?
The red ones with the strappy thing.
Oh, those are so last season. What even made you think of them?
Well, it's one of my steps. See, I joined this club, and they have like steps. And it's like
12.
Yeah, 12. How'd you know?
Wild guess.
So I feel like it's not just like a funny stoner trope like Spicoli or something, you know, like he's troubled and
self-medicating.
But in the end, you know, that he's doing 12 steps. I mean, I feel like you do see something that, you know.
Yeah.
This clarity thing has brought me to like a whole new level. You know, like my skating. You gotta see it. Would you come Saturday?
She's planting stuff to consider, for sure. But like the thing that you take away from the movie is like yellow plaid. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The fashion is front and center.
Yeah.
I felt like Travis was very much like a Hollywood kind of, like, there's his speech, it's like obviously like an Oscars kind of acceptance speech.
Oh god, that was so cute.
Travis Birkenstock, 38 tardies, by far the most tardies in the class. Congratulations.
This is so unexpected. I didn't even have a speech prepared. But I would like to say this. Tardiness is not something you can do all on your own. Many, many people contributed to my tardiness. I'd like to thank my parents for never giving me a ride to school, the LA City bus driver for taking a chance on an unknown kid, and last but not least, the wonderful crew at McDonald's for spending hours making those Egg McMuffins, without which I might never be tardy.
And then, like, somebody did a debate or something, he's like, 2 thumbs up.
2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. Fine holiday fun.
I don't know, I just felt like he was LA. Like, I had such a fantasy about Los Angeles when I was growing up. 90210.
Yeah.
And
it was definitely very much in the zeitgeist of, like, the coolest kids in America are in LA going to Beverly Hills High School.
There's this, and Ty is, like, my favorite character in it. And the moment I identified with so much was, like, where Ty's like, no shit, you guys got coke here? And, like, that is the kind of thing, like, my teenage, I was like, oh my god, they get coke at school? Whatever, you know, like, that was my child.
I just
they get all of this stuff.
She's talking about cocaine.
Yes.
Did you guys not realize that till just now?
I thought it was Coca-Cola.
That's what they're talking about, but they're talking about cocaine.
She came from a rough school before
so
she went there.
Like, I just... But no, that was something that I remember hearing about. Like when I was in high school, there was this kid that moved up from Miami, and he was talking about, like, oh, my high school has, like, Taco Bell and Coke and different things. I was, like, so impressed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel, like, so impressed by those little...
I mean, I think that probably was
like,
part of the joke as well.
How you like California? Man, I'm freaking. I could really use some sort of an herbal refreshment.
Oh, well, we do lunch in 10 minutes. We don't have any tea, but we have Coke and stuff.
No shit, you guys got Coke here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is America.
The joke was they think she's talking about the amenities at school, and she thinks they're talking about drugs.
Right, this is America. I don't know.
Yeah, she's really good at those multi-level jokes.
And her singing the Mentos commercial, like,
She's
that is
so
kind of how
adorable.
I watch.
Mentos better, Mentos fresher. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
That was kind of how I watched TV. Like, I watched so much TV, I would sing along with, like, the Mentos commercial.
Got you.
Shit.
That jingle slaps.
Yes, exactly.
Well, hot rod for me, I guess my 9-year-old also asked me if I related to anybody in the movie. He's like, do you relate to this high school experience, basically? And I was like, not at all. This was so alien to me. This was not my movie. My high school experience is more like Heather's. So I guess it's not very universal in that way. It is very much like, these are Hollywood kids, and even, like, the troubled Hollywood kids are still Hollywood kids. But, I mean, it's got that, like, class satire vibe to it that's fun, even if you're not relating to it directly.
That's it. It's a satire, and there isn't room to go deep on a lot of these things that are pointed out but not necessarily dealt with. And I think that was an intentional choice for her.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she did try to put darker things in there and they made her take them out.
I actually was reading about this just this morning, about her 25th anniversary in 2020 of the film coming out. And she said that it was rejected wholesale across the board. And then a producer, I believe, at Paramount was like, it's great just as it is. Let's do it exactly the way you want to do it. And she was saying how you never get to do things exactly the way you want to do it. But in this case, like, I got to.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And that checks out. Like, it holds together with that, like, singular vision. And, you know, it was the 90s, and it is, like, I don't know if she's straight or not, but it's, like, a white woman filmmaker at that time with that particular perspective. I was always very proud of this movie because it did seem to, like, touch on so many important things. But then in reading more about it and, like, getting a new filter on it the last few years, there's a lot it leaves out and, like, doesn't do the way it should, or the way you would hope, in order to, like, help the people that it's kind of pointing toward, you know?
Like, whoever the Amy Heckerling of today is, they'd probably do it a little differently.
Right. Because, like, Cher gets out of the car.
Cut it out!
Come on.
Stop it!
Yeah. Where you going? You're only hurting yourself here, baby. Come on. You gonna walk home? Just get back in the car, please. Get back in the car.
Leave me alone!
Fine.
Hey, where are you going?
And then is victimized again.
Yeah, do you have a number of a cab company?
Which one?
I don't know which one. What do you have out here?
Oh, we have Valley Cab.
Hand it over. Give me the phone. Back to. Come on! All right, now, get down on the ground. Face down.
Oh, no. You don't understand. This isn't a liar.
And a what?
It's
It's like a totally important designer.
And I will totally shoot you in the head.
And then has to call a different man to save her.
Josh, you busy?
Who is it?
It's Mel's daughter.
So, okay, I was at this party, and my designated driver tried to attack me, so I got out so he'd stop. But then he drove off and deserted me. And then this guy with a gun held me up, took my money and my phone, and he yelled at me, and he forced me to ruin my dress.
Okay. Look, where are you?
And then it's like the bad news because Paul Rudd's girlfriend is mad because she's kind of smarter than she is in some ways, unexpectedly.
I think that there's some merit in learning forms straight off.
Oh, Josh, please. He's taken our minds at the most feckin' point and restrained them before they've wandered through the garden of ideas. It's just like Hamlet said, to thine own self be true.
No, Hamlet didn't say that.
I think that I remember Hamlet accurately.
Well, I remember Mel Gibson accurately, and he didn't say that. That Polonius guy did.
And then there's like this cattiness between them. I guess it's like, it's very realistic. It's just like a snapshot of like what it actually looks like instead of like what it could look like. But as a child, like receiving that, it's like normalized, you know, and like held up on a big fat screen as like what life could be. Because there is all this fantasy in it. You know, Amy Heckerling talks about how she needs a little sparkle in the movies she makes because she grew up in like a dark apartment in the Bronx with her father or something. So she doesn't like that like romantic, dark, what does she call it? Not Rubens, the painter who always had one source of light. Rembrandt. Okay. Rembrandt-esque lighting. Like she wants like sparkle and flashy and like fun or whatever. So like while you're putting that light on these issues, it's confusing for like a young mind. But for an elder, it's fascinating, but it's also could do more.
But I will say though, I like when he and his girlfriend pick her up and they get a little catty between each other. But one thing that I do like about that is it shows that someone like Cher, pretty girl who cares about clothes, is not taken seriously by a lot of people, you know? And so I kind of really love their interaction where she does kind of win, where she's like, I remember Mel Gibson accurately, you know? Something going on in that scene is like, don't just write people up, you know? Also like when you are first in college, like that girl, I feel bad we don't know her name.
She might not have a name.
Heather?
I wanted to say Heather, I think maybe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heather, why can't you just be a friend?
You know, like when you're that age, you like just started college, and you're like, I am so smart. You know, like I am so intellectual. I'm like smarter than basically everyone's smart. You know, you know, and he's like that too. Like he's kind of pretentious like that. You know, I do like that one thing that happens in that scene is like you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, or like that it's a little bit of a demand to be taken seriously, even though on the surface it's like, oh, she's like this blonde, bubbly fashionista, you know.
I also wonder if girls that looked like Cher were not very nice to Heather in high school, and she's not that far removed from it.
I guess.
I mean, I definitely had that read as well. Of course. I mean, it's a personal read, but I think you could see that there. So she's like, I'm definitely smarter than this fashion bitch, and then it's like, oh shit. She's not how I imagined her, or how other people that dress and look like her are. Because there are, you know, I'm sure there are completely vapid high school fashionistas, but she's just not one of them.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of mean people in high school and like, you know.
Yeah.
I guess something that is kind of interesting about this movie is the characters are allowed to surprise you. What I took away from watching it again last night is like while Cher was a hero in my mind for decades, watching it again last night, she is a solidly mediocre person. Any skill set. Standard, average, mediocre person with a shit ton of money. And so that is the shine on her. But that was kind of a revelation too, which maybe shouldn't have come so late, much like the Coke comment. But that in and of itself is another little piece that Amy Heckerling was kind of hiding inside the narrative. Of like, we're so distracted by all the things that she has and her sparkly personality that I was successfully convinced that she was perfect fabulous in
Yeah.
some way. And she is not. She's just a regular schmegular person if you take away the closet. So that's
she has
kind
a lot of resources at her disposal to help her.
It's like very white feminism where it's
Mhm.
like,
Exactly.
oh, there's
That's
people
it.
in need.
We'll be collecting blankets, disposable diapers, canned goods. Miss Geist, Cher, I want to help. That would be wonderful. I felt better already.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm captain of the Pismo Beach Disaster Relief.
I don't think they need your skis.
Daddy, some people lost all their belongings. Don't you think that includes athletic equipment?
I'll donate my skis.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wow, yay.
Right.
I feel like the criticism of that is there, but it's buried.
Right. And for Ty to be surprising too, like I think there are a lot of surprises that you wouldn't expect in a movie that wasn't quite as smart as this one.
And I do feel like because she is going by the outline of the source material, like Emma is actually, it is very similar character where she isn't always doing the right thing, but she always thinks she is. I forget who says it. Is it Paul Rudd who is like, you don't do anything unless it benefits you.
Right.
And that is true.
But I mean, that's true of everybody.
I don't know.
Would you call me selfish? No, not to your face.
But like in Emma, she's a problematic protagonist. I definitely remember talking about that in English class.
Well, I read this part from Emma, like it starts out, Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever, and rich, with a comfortable home and happy disposition, seemed to unite some of the best blessings of existence that had lived nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her. And then it says, by Austen's own admission, Emma would be a heroine whom no one but myself will much like. Like, so she kind of knew. But then it's called Clueless, like, because she has, like, very limited perspective.
You found someone even more clueless than you are to worship you.
God, when she's got a gun pointed at her, she's like, no, I can't lie down.
Yeah.
And it's like, I will totally
Such an important
shoot you. Yeah, like, that's
and
a
even
moment
then,
where...
when she's calling, she's like, and I ruined my dress. Like, that is at the forefront of her mind the whole time.
Yeah.
Not that she had a near-death experience.
But I think, like in Jane Austen books, they're all wealthy, bourgeois people.
She wrote what she knew.
Right, and the men are like captains in the military or whatever, but you know that they're probably doing some colonial thing or going to India or something.
Definitely.
And then, like, Cher's dad is a litigator.
Daddy's a litigator. Those are the scariest kinds of lawyers. Even Lucy, our maid, is terrified of him. And Daddy's so good, he gets $500 an hour to fight with people.
He's very sweet with Cher, but like, who's
He's
this guy?
definitely
Is he like
doing-
Marty Singer
Yeah.
or like
He's definitely
Robert
not doing
Shapiro?
like he's not doing the kind of law that really helps
Yeah,
the good guys
yeah,
or the
exactly.
disenfranchised.
It's
because
just
he's
like
giving Josh shit
you
for
don't
wanting
need
to be an
to-
environmental lawyer.
So, Josh, have you given any thought to a little discussion about corporate law?
Yeah, you know, but I think I'd really like to check out environmental law.
What for? You want to have a miserable, frustrating life?
Oh, Josh will have that no matter what he does.
Don't go too much into that, you know, like that's
Yeah.
what her book is.
And he's also the one to convince Cher that she's doing enough good.
Right,
too.
yeah,
She
yeah.
takes
I mean,
that wholesale.
she's definitely on a pedestal for her dad, I think.
Cher, I expect you to become a good driver. I want to see you apply yourself.
I will. I'm gonna practice real hard.
Okay.
But it's interesting that he's her source of comfort and like reassurance when we're really not sure where his values lie.
Right.
Right, exactly.
It's interesting. There is so much there because also like there's something going on with Josh's mom because that's why he's always over there.
So what's the big deal? Nobody will be in school.
Yeah, but husband number 4 is at home, and his whole idea of acting like a family is to criticize me.
They never get into that. So it's like, however bad Dan Hedeya is, Josh's mom is worse in some way.
Well, he talks about how he's criticized by
Okay.
his new stepfather and like Cher's dad. What's his name?
Mel? I think it's Mel.
Mel.
Yeah.
Right. He seems only like supported and cheer-led by him.
Josh is in town. He's coming for dinner.
Why?
He's your stepbrother.
But you were hardly even married to his mother, and that was 5 years ago. Why do I have to see Josh?
You divorce wives, not children.
I mean, maybe that's the saving grace of this character is that he's empowering this man who wants to do good in the world with the resources that he has, and so is his daughter. in whatever stilted way.
I guess like the Jane Austen books, his daughter is like, she's interested in her fashion. Like the way that it ends in the Jane Austen, and Amy Heckerling said she was worried that audiences were not going to receive the love story between, they weren't brother and sister, but like they were part of the same family.
How much fun would it be having a brother type tagging along?
Josh, you are not my brother.
Look, you know what I mean.
That's kind of the idea in that Austen world, is like,
it was not that weird.
She's going to be taken care of because she's with this part of the family now or whatever, but you need to find a place to send your daughter or somebody to send your daughter with who's going to take care of her. It's kind of the idea. I didn't really get that very much from Clueless, but I think that was sort of like her way of being true to the story of Emma.
And within the narrative, I feel like Cher is pretty comfortable with that role.
I kind of did. I don't know if I thought it was weird with the Josh thing, as I was like, they grew up together, or...
I think they say they were just briefly married. Like, he was married to his mom, but not
they were
very
barely
long.
married.
Yeah. I have step-siblings I, like, barely know, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
It's like, right, and it's be different. Like, I have a blended family myself now, and those kids are really growing up together, you know? So, like, I don't see London and Logan getting together someday. Well, wow, they're not related. I can see it's questionable, but situationally, they're not siblings.
Yeah.
You know, they're really not. Because you can be like family with someone and not be legally related or technically related, and you can also be the other way, like, okay, technically they were step-siblings at one point. But also I'd say, like, about the dad, like, his parenting is definitely informed by, like, losing his wife when his child was so young, you know? Like, that's another thing that's, like, a big, heavy thing that they don't really touch on that much.
It's like a joke how she died.
I know!
That, like, you know, that she lost her mom young enough to not even remember her.
Wasn't my mom a Betty? She died when I was just a baby. A fluke accident during a routine liposuction. I don't remember her, but I like to pretend she still watches over me.
What's interesting about that, my friend Susan Liu, who's an incredible performer, writer, everything, she did a show called 140 Pounds that's about how her mom died from cosmetic surgery. And that for her is a story about beauty standards on minority communities. But she has a memoir coming out in March that she just read from this reading series that I run that is 140 pounds turned memoir. And it's an incredible story, and you get to go like way more in depth about it. But this is just like another example of like these extremely heavy topics that Amy Heckerling is like pulling into this story that is sparkly and a satire and light and clueless and just like running them all together. And it does feel like her way of getting a little say on all these things that she knows are important, but it also feels like, I don't know, like a table of contents of like where to start on any one of these issues, and also maybe is kind of damaging and not so great to like brush over so quickly all of these things. I mean, I'm glad we got this Gen X 90s take in this extremely digestible way so that you don't even know the medicine is going down. But I think there's also a real danger in that, just like seeing it without knowing that that's not good. That could be a different way.
Yeah.
You know, a routine liposuction or whatever she says in front of that portrait. That's something that she's going to live with her entire life and looks at every day. You know, I don't know. It's reading too much into this film in particular.
When I was watching it last night, I mean, I definitely noticed, like, the kind of, like, diet culture sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all I've had was 2 bowls of Special K.
Yeah.
Turkey bacon, and I'm just,
That's
like...
pretty pervasive.
I'm just, like...
She's, like, cutting up a croissant, and she's like,
you
lose weight if you cut it into
K
small
I've
pieces.
Eaten in my life. Like, I ate Special K, like...
The whole, like, fat-free is all you need to do.
Are you sure
it's
that's
so crazy.
fat-free?
Yeah.
Or, I've been so bad today. I've had 2 of these mochachinos. And it's just like, yeah, wow.
Yeah, she even says, like, I feel like such a heifer. And
right,
like,
yeah.
What are you fucking talking about?
I know.
Yeah.
Come on, Dee. I feel like bailing, dude. Come on. I know what you mean, but at least it's exercise. I feel like such a heifer. I had 2 bowls of Special K, 3 pieces of turkey bacon, a handful of popcorn, 5 peanut butter M&Ms, and like 3 pieces of licorice. Are you sure that's fat-free? Oh, yes. And you lose weight by doing it like this, by doing it really small.
From now on, we're alternating Cindy Crawford's Aerobicize and Buns of Steel and reading one non-school book a week. My first book is Fit or Fat.
And it's like, oh god.
I mean, that's true to the time.
It definitely is.
It's totally true to the time.
And I'm glad that it is not quite that pervasive now, because my 13-year-old did notice it, and she was like, what's wrong with them? And I'm like, that is just how women talked to each other back then.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is what I've eaten today, this is why I earned this or didn't earn that. So it is better, even though it still very much exists.
Yeah, it's wild thinking about that again. Because, like, I don't even register. Having grown up in LA, it's like, here's this joke again. But I remember at the time, when I was a kid watching this movie, I was like, 2 M&Ms and 3 Twizzlers? Like, this is why I'll never be her.
Yeah.
You know? Like, give me my boxes, my vats of candy. Like, that's what I need to live. This is why it maybe doesn't stand up, is the brushing over. I mean, she's making the statement by putting it in there in the first place. And also, it's damaging to do that. Without going all the way
for
there.
The 90s.
Yeah. But I think she's making a joke of it on purpose because she doesn't agree with it. Like, you're in on the joke, it doesn't necessarily leave room for reflection on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that bitter Gen X thing, like, the world sucks. Like, sorry, I don't know if everybody's...
I am Gen X.
Yeah. And, you know, not wrong, but...
There's definitely, like, the Gen X is like, the world is fucked up and that's just how it is. And then at least the next generations are like, the world is fucked up and is there anything we can do about it?
Yeah, as a geriatric millennial, that's what I'm bringing.
Yeah. And the answer is not until the old people die.
That's not really working that well either. They're really, like, training them up. Anyway. I have so many other stuff that didn't hold up. Where Ty says, like, I don't really want to restate it, but, like, when she's apologizing to Cher at the skating event where Travis is performing or whatever, she makes reference to, like, mental retardation or whatever.
Yeah, there's a couple of instances of the R word is not great. And that's, again, that was so shocking to my children.
That was I watched that with my friend
casual.
It was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
I was really tossed off at the time.
She's like, I feel like such a... I forgot.
And then that moment where Cher's like, I don't speak Mexican, but Lucy's from El Salvador. And that's like one moment where I think Amy gives a little bit more room to like address, because Paul Rudd's character is like, it's an entirely different country.
We got another notice from the fire department saying that we have to clear out the bush. You said you were going to get Jose to do it.
He your garden, and why you don't tell him?
Lucy, you know I don't speak Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican.
Great, what was that all about?
Lucy's from El Salvador.
So?
It's an entirely different country.
What does that matter?
You get upset if someone thinks you live below sunset.
And she's like, oh, it's just me. I'm the worst in the world. Like, and it's like, yeah, bitch, you are. It's you.
Yeah.
Like, don't say that shit. So that was kind of interesting. I feel like there's a ton of stuff, but I feel like at this point, people can watch and easily pick them out.
Right. Spot the difference.
Yeah, right.
Next call.
You blow it tonight, girl. And it's Keggers with kids all next year.
So for Keggers with Kids, I have my child Fern, 13 years old.
Hello.
And she watched the movie Clueless with me in preparation for the podcast. Fern, what did you think of Clueless?
I gotta say, I do like it. I've seen a lot of movies like that before, like coming-of-age stories, trying to get other people together, or like falling in love with someone you thought was a nerd or stuff like that.
It's high school movie tropes.
A lot of high school movie tropes. Although I did think it was very funny.
I thought it was interesting that you said when you saw the clothes, particularly the first day outfits, or the first outfits that Cher and Dion wear, and you asked, is this supposed to be the future?
Because like their outfits, like she was wearing like a plastic hat.
Yeah, that hat is wild.
And she was like on an app where she would like pick out the clothes and then dress
it wasn't
them.
an app though, because that didn't even exist. It would have been called a program, a computer program, and it was like on her desktop computer.
And I thought that when she selected the outfit, like materialized on her because it was set place in the future and they didn't show her changing into it or anything.
That's really funny. You were filling in like high tech.
Yeah,
gaps.
I thought that it was taking place in the future because her house was so modern too.
That's
and
really
big.
Funny. That is an interesting thing about it, is that that it's a very 90s movie in a lot of ways, but also it exists outside the 90s because it's such a heightened version of that time period. Like, no one really dressed exactly like that in high school. That was definitely way more fashion forward than the average high school student, even like a popular Beverly Hills high school. And then also, what did you think about the fact that the protagonists were popular girls, so the most popular girl in school?
I didn't think too much of it, but I know a lot of movies are, like, definitely centered around the self-conscious weird girl falling in love with the popular boy. So I do kind of like the direction they took with it. She's trying to be a good person, I guess. She's trying a little bit.
That even popular kids have their struggles.
Yeah.
They do have that character, the makeover character.
Yeah, they do, like, 3 makeovers throughout this.
Dion does say that Cher lives for makeovers.
Yes.
So who is your favorite character?
I liked the new girl. I thought she was very cute. I liked Ty. At first, the way she dressed, like, I've seen people in my middle school wear pretty much exactly what she was wearing on that first day.
Yeah, that look in particular is really back right now. Did you think there was anything problematic about it?
I thought there was a lot of emphasis on all the girls trying to be as skinny as possible.
Yeah, that comes up a lot, talking about diets, and it's just kind of making fun of it because they're basically just eating candy as a diet all the time, but it does come up a lot, and you notice it every time, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I have gotten good at recognizing toxic diet culture because I've experienced that a lot, especially because I am very self-conscious about myself. And I do see that girl in me sometimes, but I try not to give into it.
I've done my best to keep that out of the home. So where are you exposed to that toxic diet culture?
At school and on the internet mostly. I think when I was really young, I have this like vague memory of talking to my 2 friends in like kindergarten and first grade about being really skinny, and I don't know. It's
Jesus.
Just like, I don't know what's happening.
I mean, I believe you that was your experience. It's just
And I just
awful.
internalized that for years.
Ugh, horrible. I'm so sorry.
Like, I don't even really know what happened. Like, you've always been very proud of who you are, and you've always been, like, a really just open person. I guess it just came from other people saying things, and then 5-year-old me just internalizing that forever.
That's a very impressionable age. Were there any other problematic elements that you spotted?
I did see that there were, like, some black stereotypes a little bit, but,
That's what you call the token black character. We had 2 token black characters, a male and a female. But yeah, that was definitely a big problem in the 90s, was they were like, we're progressive because we put 1 in.
Because we put 1 in. And they're only allowed to date each other.
Right,
no
yes. I know, Ty doesn't even ask which one is Dion's boyfriend. She's just like, I know which one it is.
It's the other black kid.
Anything else?
I feel like the business dad trope has been going on for a while. Who hates his wife, who has now left him.
Well, he has an ex. I mean, I guess that's just pretty common of people at that age. Divorce is very common.
Divorce. Especially because he's a lawyer, probably.
It sounds like his ex-wife was the problem, though, because that's why Josh is always over there. And he's like, don't tell my mom I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something about his mom that was toxic that made him feel more at home with Mel and Cher, which is interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I was always very confused about, like, the ages everybody was, because they...
Yes, that is very confusing.
Because I'm like, are these kids 16 or 25? I cannot tell.
The answer is yes. Yeah, they are wildly different ages. I looked up everyone's ages, and it's between 17 is how old Ty was. She filmed the movie, and I think she's playing like 16 or 17. They're all playing 16 or 17 except Josh, who's in college. So he's probably like 20 at the oldest. But hopefully more like 18 or 19. Like, hopefully he just went to college. But anyway, and then Dion is the oldest one. She was 27, that actress.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see why it's so confusing, because they are all completely different ages.
Yeah, like, Ty looked so much younger than a lot of them, and she was the only one that wasn't a virgin.
Yeah, I know, that's funny. And then there's a fun fact is that Brittany Murphy, that actress, said that at the time she filmed that, she was a virgin who couldn't drive. I really like that fact.
I was kind of confused about the guy. I referred to him as the guy from the memes. It was like the teacher.
Wallace Shawn, yes.
Wallace.
Wallace Shawn is the actor's name.
And he looked like my grandpa.
Yeah.
He had the hairline of my grandpa, and then, like, they said that he was, like, 46. My dad is older than him.
Yeah. That is always really hard. I feel like people aged faster back then or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Because, like, there was, like, lead and everything.
I say we just grow up, be adults, and die.
Let's do some fun stuff. Let's do meaningful passages.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
Just like when Ty's like, hope not sporadically.
Be seeing ya.
Yeah, I hope not sporadically.
Every Brittany Murphy line delivery is the fucking best. She's the most adorable
And
person.
I really love when she asks, she's like, how old are you? I'll be 16 in May. Well, my birthday is in April, and that's someone older.
Are you talking about drugs? Here. Hi, how old are you? I'll be 16 in May. My birthday is in April, and as someone older, can I please give you some advice? It is one thing to spark up a doobie and get laced at parties, but it is quite another to be fried all day. Do you see the distinction?
She latched immediately onto that incremental age difference.
So smart and cute.
I just love her, like, RSVP thing.
Yeah.
It does not say RSVP.
That's a really
Statue
good
of
analogy.
Liberty.
Like,
Yeah, I
actually,
love
she
that.
is, like, unexpectedly woke in places.
Like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? But it's like, when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that, like, did not RSVP. So I was, like, totally bugging. I had to haul ass to the kitchen, redistribute the food, squish in extra place settings. But by the end of the day, it was like, the more the merrier. And so, if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians. And in conclusion, may I please remind you that it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
That's why I love it. I think I watched it with commentary once, and that Alicia Silverstone just said it Haitians. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't know she was saying it wrong, and they're like, don't tell her.
Yes.
Perfect.
Until afterwards.
So
it's really good.
But also, like, ouch.
She was young, though. She was one of the younger people.
Right.
My 13-year-old was very surprised that there was anyone who could possibly argue the alternate viewpoint, but I was like, that's the debate that still rages on today, which is horrifying, but she's so right. It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
Just rearrange some things.
So deeply mediocre.
I thought it was a very good, like, just young person joke about her house. The columns date all the way back to 1972.
Yes.
It's like a vintage house.
That dinner scene before the Valley party where Mel is meeting Ty for the first time and she sits down at the head of the table and his, like, introduction to her is, get out of my chair!
Hi, Daddy. This is my friend Ty.
Get out of my chair.
It gets me every time. That whole scene is so incredible. Cher gets the last minute call from Dion about going to the party, and that whole scene is incredible.
I love that. Looks like we're gonna have to make a cameo at the Val party. Ty's like talking to Cher. I don't want to do this anymore, and my buns, they don't feel nothing like a steel.
Again, I wrote that down too. Another perfect line delivery.
Cher, I don't want to do this anymore. And my buttons, they don't feel nothing like steel.
It's true. A lot of the more memorable stuff is from Ty, for sure. My new favorite from watching last night was, you guys, I've never had straight friends before.
Oh, come on, let us. Cher's main thrill in life is a makeover, okay? It gives her a sense of control in a world full of chaos.
Please. Sure. Why not? Shit, you guys. I've never had straight friends before.
For so long, I was like, straight edge? Or like just straight women? I'm like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
But I think she means just straight girls.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she meant like non-druggy people.
That's what I thought for a long
Oh,
time.
no. I don't know. I guess you could interpret
it's
either way,
straight
but I felt
girls.
like it was straight girls.
I'm getting a clearer vision on the movie this time. We know that it's cocaine and not Coca-Cola. We know it's straight girls and not straight edge. Yeah, a lot of things are coming clear. Just from the tone. I feel like tonally.
Yeah.
And that is such a crazy and absurd thing to say. I've never had straight friends before. Like, what does that mean in the context?
That's the same way, like...
It's like whenever at her old school, the lesbians took her in, I guess.
So wild. But, like, why does she say it then? You know what I mean? When they say that they want to give her a I guess that's it.
That's what, because her outfit, I mean, I guess what she's wearing is kind of a stereotypical 90s lesbian look.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Which is funny. Again, my 13-year-old was like, I love her outfit. That's what I wear to school every day.
Yeah, and all the shit talking about how men dress then is now like how women dress. Yeah.
It does look better on women, though.
I like when she's like, you're a virgin, and she's like, you see how picky I am about shoes, and they only go on my feet.
Cher, you're a virgin? God, you say that it's a bad thing. Besides, the PC term is hymenally challenged. I am just not interested in doing it until I find the right person. You see how picky I am about my shoes, and they only go on my feet.
Yeah, that's a really good line.
I love at the party where Travis is like, what would guys do to impress? I don't know. There was something like, and Ty goes, I don't know, stuff.
That was so cool, the way you did that. I wish I could do it.
Oh, no, don't.
Why not?
Well, because if girls did it, what would guys do to impress them?
I don't know, like, stuff.
I just loved that. Ty is my favorite. I love her.
Yeah.
I also really loved how they centered Cher and Ty at the skating event. Like, that could easily have become a moment. I mean, it would have ruined the whole, like, track of the movie, but Travis could have very easily become the center of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
But the girls are so at the center of it. Like, their dynamic and their relationship and their perspective on things. Like, that was really cute.
That's true. A lot of the men are just, like, accessories that they have or don't have.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's like a refreshing perspective for a high school girl movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also what's really fascinating is that in that scene, we get a shot up at Travis where he gets to look like the little... Sorry, that was the chair.
I know. They are party chairs.
Very farty, like straight up fart sound. Where we get to look up at him as if he is a king or like a champion or whatever. But really, when we get that perspective of him, he's more endearing and sort of like sweet, and we're proud of him like a kid.
It's like he did it and he couldn't have done that without the encouragement.
And I guess he gets shit on the entire movie, like to watch him like be the winner or whatever. It's this really sweet like homage to maybe masculinity or something too. There's something good in there, and that like by shining a light on him, he gains much more than he would if we didn't. You know? I don't know.
I can see that. No. Of course, I like the line, I'm having a Twin Peaks experience.
Ty!
You have a picture in your locker.
I have the picture you took in my locker.
Oh, I'm having a Twin Peaks experience.
They have a Twin Peaks podcast.
Love.
And also, of course, like, I mean, there's a lot of just iconic lines, but like, you're a virgin who can't drive. It's a fun thing when your children are little and they're mouthing off to you. You can always say that.
Why am I even listening to you to begin with? You're a virgin who can't drive.
Oh, that was way harsh, Ty. Alright. Look, I'm really sorry. Let's just talk when we've mellowed, alright? I'm outie.
I mean, that is just like a gift that you send all the time. It's surprisingly versatile.
Right.
Really funny.
I also really like the line about Ren and Stimpy are way existential because it's a little bit true.
It's totally true. It's 100% true.
I can't believe I'm taking advice from someone who watches cartoons.
Be quiet, you idiot.
That's Ren and Stimpy. They are way existential.
Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
No. Why, do I sound like I do?
Ren and Stimpy are deep. Yes.
There definitely are fluid jokes aplenty, but yeah, if you really get down to it.
Ren is
so like they're
troubled
teaching
soul.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a ball of anxiety.
Yes. Yes.
I got it all figured out. You're not mad. You're just suffering from a post-traumatic schizophrenic brain blister. And you, just a mere victim of an undissolved childhood hemorrhoidic offense mechanism.
There are so many, I mean, not necessarily quotes, but like when Ty falls down the stairs. It's just that mortification moment. I felt like so, oh my God. And like some guy comes up to her, he's like, are you okay?
It's like
that looked really bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's
so
like,
embarrassing.
Now we'll make more. I'm gonna be noticed that girl who fell on her butt.
Ty, no one knows.
Wow, are you okay? That looked really bad.
Yeah, thanks.
that was such a visceral moment for me.
Oh, totally.
And then like, what's wrong with you, kid? Do you think the death of Sammy Davis left an opening in the Rat Pack?
Nice pile of bricks you got here.
You drink?
No, thanks, I'm cool.
I'm not offering. I'm asking you if you drink. You think I give alcohol to teenage drivers taking my daughter out?
Hey, man, the protective vibe, I dig.
What's with you, kid? You think the death of Sammy Davis left an opening in the Rat Pack?
So, like, getting into Christian, I needed to look this up and I didn't. So they watched Spartacus, right? And then there's that...
Sporadicus.
Christian had a thing for Tony Curtis, so he brought over Some Like It Hot and Sporadicus.
Sporadicus. And she focuses the whole camera on that line.
Singer of songs. For whom did you practice this wondrous talent?
For the children of my master, whom I also taught the classics.
The children of my master, whom I also taught the classics.
Mm-hmm.
I knew as soon as I said it out loud it was going to make sense. But it was like, got it. Like,
Yeah.
little reference. Like, we are Amy Heckerling's children, or she is the child, and the classics are Jane Austen, or I don't know. It was just really funny, and that it was coming in through this, like, gay tone.
Like, I guess I realized Christian was gay, but there were some other, like, friend of Dorothy.
Dee, I almost had sex with him.
You almost had sex with who?
Christian.
What? Your man Christian is a cake boy.
A what?
He's a disco dancing, Oscar Wilde reading, Streisand ticket holding friend of Dorothy. Know what I'm saying?
No way.
He's gay.
Not even.
Yes, even.
He does like to shop share, and the boy can dress.
Oh my God, I'm totally bugging. I feel like such a bonehead.
I had no idea what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That was
Like, that was probably the first time I'd ever heard that term
That came up like
before.
because I watched it with my friend who's like 30, and she had never heard, because that was like a euphemism, not even really like a derogatory one. You know,
Yeah.
like, it was sort of like, is he a friend of Dorothy?
It was like a
you know?
coded
right?
way
Like,
to
are
say
you
it.
a friend of Dorothy? You know, I guess we don't really need euphemisms anymore.
Right, yeah. Yeah, or like the Tony Curtis, is he like a gay icon in some way?
Yeah,
definitely.
Both those movies, Some Like It Hot, obviously, and then
Yeah.
Spartacus has a lot of gay subtext. Or not barely even sub, really.
Yeah. And Tony Curtis is a gay icon, for sure, from that era. Like, that's a lot of gay boys' first crush.
I
There's a
didn't
lot
know
of, there's a
that
lot
when
of,
I was
like,
watching
little clues.
Let's take a look at some of the homosexual artifacts I dug up.
Like, he's reading William S. Burroughs in class. And
Oh my God, do you see how he's falling in love with me? I mean, look how he ignores every other girl.
he knows a lot about art.
You like Billie Holiday?
I love him.
Right.
In high school, I learned a little bit about the Beat Generation. Like, I thought that was really cool and different. So I thought, like, oh, he's like a beatnik kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there's a fine line between someone who knows a lot about artsy stuff and being gay, and that's why, you know, they know that.
Yeah.
But there are lots of clues.
Your father has a well-rounded collection.
Daddy says it's a good investment.
He's absolutely right. Klaus Oldenburg.
Oh, he's way famous.
But this is older, see. Transition. A very important piece.
You want to get some wine?
Let's watch the movies.
Oh, okay.
This movie, I'm realizing, is like a lot of like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's true.
Like to a cheeky, fun degree, and also to like a concerning degree. It really like wobbles around on that line.
Mm-hmm. I really love the exchange about, you guys talk like grown-ups.
Murray, I have asked you repeatedly not to call me woman.
Excuse me, Miss Dion.
Thank you.
Okay, but street slang is an increasingly valid form of expression. Most of the feminine pronouns do have mocking, but not necessarily misogynistic undertone.
Wow. You guys talk like grown-ups. Oh, well, this is a really good school.
This is a really good school.
Really
That's a meta line too, because that was a criticism of teen media at the time, was that they all were too verbal and hyper-intellectual, and it's just a really fun commentary on that. And how Ty does talk like an actual teenager.
Yeah.
Like, we really love that movie Dick because they talk like teenagers in that movie. It's refreshing when that happens. Like, oh, this is teen representation here.
Yeah, totally.
Also, her accent is just like the fucking cutest.
Yeah, she's great.
That's something else that I was like reading up on, is because Amy Heckerling is a New Yorker, she had some work to do around like the linguistics of this movie. And so, like, trying to translate her New Yorker language into LA specifically, it ended up creating this, like, other language that is, like, Clueless.
Yeah.
And that created its own kind of, like, iconography.
That's so smart to do. It's like what Heathers did as well. Anybody that wants their high school movie to have any sort of timelessness, you gotta make up your own slang.
Totally. And I don't know like quite how much of it was intentional. A lot of it was just like, I'm not from here, so like do it kind of like this, and it's just
like running it through Google Translator.
Yeah, right. Like Sporadicus is not LA, but it's perfect.
That's like a literary malapropism. I really love that.
Yeah, totally. That part's fascinating. Like the linguistics of this movie.
Yeah.
Also, just like the way she says it when she and Dion are leaving the note for Miss Geist, and Dion's like, "Fat, did you write that?" It's like a famous quote.
And it's not exactly right either. If you freeze frame the card, it's a little bit garbled.
I love that it's from Cliff's Notes.
Yeah.
Eternal summer shall not fade. Fat, did you write that?
That's like a famous quote.
From where?
Cliff's Notes.
Oh.
I really like it.
Oh, wait, where's another one that was like a famous quote that she doesn't get exactly right? "'Tis a far, far better thing doing stuff for other people."
It's like that book I read in 9th grade that said, "'Tis a far, far better thing doing stuff for other people."
That is hilarious. I also wrote down a quote from my child, my 13-year-old, and it's really funny because both my kids love Marvel shit, and still they didn't recognize Paul Rudd until toward the end, and then my 13-year-old said, "That guy looks like Paul Rudd." And I was like, "It is Paul Rudd." She was like, "What?"
Okay, that's wild because we all talk about how he hasn't changed.
That's what I said. I was like, that's very interesting because people are always putting up Clueless Paul Rudd and now Paul Rudd, and I guess to young people, all old people look ancient. It's like,
I mean, you watch Clueless, like, he's aged a little bit. Like, he doesn't look, however, I mean, he's like, what, 52? He's in his 50s.
Finally, but it's happened in like the last 5 years. And anybody who hasn't aged in the last 5 years is like inside of incubation.
Right, like wherever Jared Leto was during the lockdown. Like, is that what's going on with you?
Yeah.
And she also described Wallace Shawn as the guy from the memes, which was very funny to me.
He's in some memes, When you watch stuff with teenagers and there's things that they know from memes. Like, we watched The Shining with my 16-year-old when he's covered in snow, and it's like, oh, that's what that's from.
I thought it was just about being very cold. My kids are both interested in how old everyone was, so I did look up everyone's ages, and it's pretty interesting. Brittany Murphy was the youngest at 17, and then Alicia Silverstone was 18, Donald Faison 18, and then it goes all the way up to Stacey Dash being 27.
Wow.
And Paul Rudd was 25 at the time.
That was clear.
Yeah. And then there was it's a little bit of a hot prop for...
I
did 24.
7.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm. It is pretty wild. She looks fantastic. Yeah. Does she still look great? I haven't looked her up lately because she's so like problematic.
Now,
yeah. I hope her hate has aged her a little bit. But. And then it was funny when they say Wallace Shawn is 47 because my husband was like, "I'm 48." That was a problem for him. He did not like that.
I noticed that too.
When it's like the old are like your age.
Old people can be so sweet.
But he was actually 51, so at least it wasn't
perfect age. The best age of person can be, really.
And he probably was a person who never looked. He's like the anti-Paul Rudd. Like, I always looked exactly this age.
I have like just a thing that I noticed that I loved that I forgot about. Just like the credits are so beautiful. Do you remember the credits?
The opening credits?
No, the closing.
Oh.
Or at least for the stars of the movie. It's this like neon background with a different neon font.
Oh,
and the font is like that chunky I am not a font person, but it's like that chunky, playful lettering.
Kumo Sans.
And it's just beautiful. Like, I could just watch the credits for a long time.
That's awesome.
It's like, it gives you energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. It's
that's
like,
so fun to shout that out, because that's someone's job just to do exactly that. So I'll find out who that is and shout them out. Robert Dawson.
And that Smoking Pope song doesn't get too much. People were leaving the theater probably when that was playing.
Oh yeah, let's definitely talk about the soundtrack, which like the opening is so great. I love the Muffs. I love that Muffs cover. And it is a lot of 90s bands, which it does date it in a way, but it's also really fun when you hear those grungy voices. The classics. Wait till the classics.
The children of our masters.
Yeah. Christina, do you wanted to say your favorite song in the soundtrack?
Oh, yeah. The Lightning Seeds. Change. I love that song. And I thought it fit great in that scene where she's like getting applause and stuff. And I think they're a British band and they kind of had like a New Order-y sound. And I really like New Order, and so that was my favorite song.
Yeah, they were kind of like early second wave British invasion. Lightning Seeds. That was about that time. That was the Oasis heyday.
The soundtrack is totally amazing, and I was on some kind of nostalgia kick a few years ago and put the soundtrack on, and it was fun, but it's nothing like hearing it while watching the movie.
I know, yeah.
They're doing a job there. Go figure.
Right.
Those songs are fantastic, clipped and put to just the right imagery, and like the timing and everything. Like, it's just so much more thrilling hearing them while watching the movie.
Right, yeah. Better together.
Yeah, that's a whole separate genre, is soundtracks that you can experience the movie while you're listening to them, and there's not that many. Trainspotting comes to mind immediately, but Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do cut songs up to fit, and sometimes they'll even change them around so that thematically the original meaning of the song is different because of how they cut them up.
Excuse me, I think I know Heather a little bit better than you do.
Let's see, are there any fun facts? We did say the Haitians thing. Paul Rudd was mugged while he was filming this movie, and they stole his backpack with the script in it.
Oh, no! Amazing. Mugged where? In LA?
Yeah, probably.
Like walking? Where was he That's
Who
so crazy.
knows? I don't know.
The circumstances of
I
this.
haven't looked into it, but I'll call him up.
Yeah, let's
for details. From a Paul Rudd interview in GQ, March 2009. Chris Heath writes, he'd gone to dinner with a friend at Jerry's Deli in the Valley. Back out at his car, a guy grabbed him and told him to give him his money. This is a real gun, he told Rudd. Watch out, because I'll fucking kill you. Rudd assured him that he believed him and it was fine. You don't think it's a real gun, the guy said, and fired it. The bullet went through Rudd's hair. Rudd told him he had no cash, but that he could take whatever he wanted. He offered his backpack, and the gunman ran off. Rudd moved to New York City not long after. Alternate casting. A lot of the time this is bullshit, but this is from the horse's mouth. Reese Witherspoon auditioned for Cher.
I also read that Dave Chappelle went up for Dion's boyfriend.
Oh yeah, Murray.
Yeah. And this is like where we get into that tricky territory again. Because something that Amy Heckerling said was that she wanted all of these characters to feel like those perfect kids that you wanted to be in high school. And then she also wanted them to be able to express a wide range of emotions, but never feel actually threatening. Never cast a shadow on the movie in any way, which like is very telling. And she said that Dave Chappelle was incredible, but had an edge to him that wasn't the right tone for the movie. Those are the specific words she used, like tone and edge and things like that. And it just feels a little coded. And was it her perception that he was dangerous based on his audition? It presents a lot of questions.
I mean, Chappelle's show definitely was a pretty edgy show, I guess. It definitely called a lot of stuff out.
Right, yeah. Edge is like a very safe word to use. It was very wisely chosen. It feels coded.
Yeah,
you know?
I see what you're saying.
Especially in that context of like a white woman judging a black man by whether or not he seems dangerous.
Right.
I can see how, because that character, he and Dion are fighting a lot, you know, and he's like yelling at his girlfriend a lot, calling her a woman, you know, and you want someone who can strike the right tone because she is wanting to keep it light.
Again, it's this like...
Maybe a better word choice would have been like, we wanted someone sweeter. Because I can definitely imagine Dave Chappelle not being like super sweet. But Donald Faison being pretty.
Like, just that like Donald Faison plays that exactly the way she wanted it played, and he didn't play it that way.
I don't know if it's necessarily like word choice as much as it is like the scenario. This white woman in a much more powerful position,
For sure.
judging this black man based on the presentation or like the impression that he gives, which is clearly colored by her own biases or whatever.
Of
Anyway.
course, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot there. It'd be impossible for that not to have influenced her decision at the time.
Is it Dave Chappelle's brand? Like young Dave Chappelle could have been? I don't know what he's capable of.
I mean, he was in Half Baked. He was like the lead of that. And, you know, that was a goofy role. Like, he wasn't like a dangerous black man in that movie. He was like a goofy stoner guy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't enough of a teenager for her at the time. Or it can be so hard when you're casting, I assume, to even put into words why someone doesn't feel right. But you're probably asked to explain it.
And it's also fucked that this conversation comes up around the only black man in the movie. We're not talking about Elton. Why not? He's hella fucking threatening.
There definitely is some
And dark.
tokenism happening for sure.
Yeah. The stuff that goes unaddressed or kind of unspoken or coded in this movie reveals a lot of darkness.
But I also feel like Elton and Murray as characters, like, you're supposed to like Murray, you're not supposed to like Elton. So maybe she's not saying that he was too threatening and edgy to play Elton because that's what she wanted from him.
This is just classic why white men get off in the first place. Elton's meant to be threatening because it's okay to have a threatening man in a lighthearted movie because they're going to be okay no matter what. Threatening black man in the movie, it's way more dangerous. There's so much to read into. And the fact that this conversation came up again in an interview around the only black male role in the movie and not anybody else is weird. And also, she wasn't going to cast Paul Rudd. She wanted to cast one of the Beastie Boys. She wanted like a badder boy. Again, white men are given all the room in the world to be as messy and dangerous and terrible as they like. But if we're going to put a black man in the movie, we can't have too much edginess.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question that there's some fucked up.
Right, no, I'm not saying that it's
into
not a
these
problem.
decisions.
I'm not saying that at all. Those specific characters, those two different things she's going for.
But again, the reason why is important to consider, I think. Because Murray says a lot of fucked up shit to Dion, but he's not allowed to say it with a certain tenor because he's black. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm just very specifically like, you're supposed to like Murray, you're not supposed to like Elton.
But what about the Paul Rudd thing?
Right, that comparison is more apt because you are supposed to like Paul Rudd. I'm just very specifically responding to comparing those two because it's like, well, you're going for something totally different. You know?
I'm seeing Kavanaugh in Elton.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The epitome of power, the epitome of bad behavior. I don't know if you could call him evil as much as a product of evil.
Definitely evil in training.
Well, he's a piece of shit, but there's evil around him, whether he was inherently or just permitted to be. Anyway, that's what I see. We were supposed to be talking about something light.
I mean, I don't disagree
I'm the wrong
with you at all
one.
about
No,
that.
it's okay. We do this all the time.
And I hear what you're saying, too. I just think there's more to it.
Yes, I'm not saying there's not more to it.
Okay.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
So the lunchtime poll question is inspired by the scene in the car, the discussion about Hamlet, and everyone is surprised when she knows that it's Polonius who says the line about thine own self and not that Polonius guy and not Hamlet. So the question is, what is something that you know a lot about that people might be surprised to learn you know a lot about? I don't know if this is surprising to people. If you know me, like, pretty well, then you wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I know a lot about cults. I know a lot about cults and a lot of different cults, and particularly Scientology, but I just have a lot of cult knowledge, and I'm good at spotting cult behaviors and cult-adjacent triggers and all that stuff, so...
I have so many questions. I think that's a different podcast, maybe.
Yeah, I've gotten into a little bit, but my mom was into cults, so I got really fascinated by it and read lots of books and watched every documentary and all that stuff. So it's a personal obsession.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And also not.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
We were in an airport and news was on. Someone pitched a perfect game last night. So I was with me and Matt. And then it said something like, how many people have ever pitched a perfect game, which is not that many. And then I knew this like I knew my children's names. I was like, well, there was somebody who did pitch 13 perfect innings once, but he had no run support and he lost it, and so he's not credited. He's not credited with a perfect game because of that. I think his name was Harvey Haddix. It was in the 50s. Yeah, but I was like, why did I know that? Right. So, I feel like people who don't know me that well wouldn't think I would be that into sports and super into baseball. Like, I had encyclopedic baseball knowledge at a time. I guess I still know some stuff. Mine's from a specific era because I stopped being into baseball, but I still appreciate it. But just sort of like sports in general and baseball specifically.
Awesome. Sorry about the barking interruption. There's some asshole barking across the street, so Lemmy Pot Dog is
I love his hoodie.
upset about it.
It's so cute. I had a really hard time coming up. Like, I proposed the question, and then I'm like, I don't have this answer for myself. And I was, like, racking my brain, and I can sing the French national anthem. And I don't, it was because we had to do it in front of the class, like, in French class in middle school. And, like, I was like, I need to learn this. I could sing it. I have the receipts, but I won't sing it. But I can sing it. It's actually a really bloody, gory national anthem.
Lemmy hates national anthem.
Yeah, sorry. If I'm ever held at gunpoint or whatever.
And that's all they want from you.
That's all they want from me.
You're ready with the
I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live.
Wow. Give this woman a microphone.
I love it.
I'm so uncomfortable with this question. I feel like I don't know. I doubled down on it, and now I'm like, fuck. I guess, like, the easy fallback thing is that I rode horses growing up, so, like, I know a lot about how to be around horses, how to take care of horses, how to jump horses and train horses and teach lessons and clean up shit and stuff like that.
Braid the tails and the manes.
Yeah, that's actually a very hard job to do it, like, properly.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm terrified of horses.
Yeah. There was a thing when I was first learning, like, if you put a kid on a horse and lead them around at a trot, they'll either start crying or laughing, and that's how you know, like, that's kind of the line in the sand about it. I went into straight up giggles. Like, I like lost control of my body.
Aww.
Yeah, I love riding.
That's the horse girl test.
Yeah, exactly. It comes early. I don't know what happens if you're like an adult and they take you around on a trot for the first time. You don't know if you're afraid of horses, but it does seem like you're afraid of them or you love them. I feel like there's very few people in between. Anyway, that's my thing.
That's impressive. I'm so impressed with people who can handle horses because I'm so scared of them, because I know how dangerous they are if you don't know how to do it.
Maybe I'll start sending you, like, a lot of videos on the internet of, like, horses just being really cute.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, I think they're beautiful, and I really respect them, and I think they're, like, wonderful, majestic creatures, but I don't want to get really close to one.
Yeah. It's a lot of pounds.
Yeah, they're intimidating.
Like, their eyes are intense.
You think so? I think they're so sweet.
I feel like they're so smart. There's just so much going on behind the eyes that it's intimidating. I don't know.
There was a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Yeah.
If I believed in past lives, I would say maybe there was something there, but
I mean, it's fucked what we do to them, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure that they want saddles on their back and, like, to be directed around, but it's kind of like...
How many people do want to be ridden?
Yeah, it's
Seems
a
like a pretty
conflict,
niche
for sure.
thing.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's also kind of like dogs. When they're bred a certain way, they really love it. Like, race horses that really love it. Horses that have, like, incredible torque in their bodies that can just, like, leap over things that are just entirely unreasonable. You have to love it to do it, because otherwise you wouldn't get over the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's my thing.
That's a beautiful answer.
Valley horse girl.
Randy's. I still want to go there.
Yeah, I'm wearing a lot of California stuff kind of accidentally. This is like a California scarf. I insisted on this sweatshirt. I really, like, made a few people's lives more difficult trying to get this sweatshirt.
I love it.
How very. Katie, do you have anything you'd like to plug before we go?
Totes. Always. Plugging the shit out of stuff lately.
Do it.
So I run this reading series called Nonfiction for No Reason. It's bi-monthly. The next one is November 8th at 7 p.m. at Little Saigon Creative. The lineup is crazy. Tessa Hulls, Angela Garbus, Lisa Chen, Celeste Chan, Brady Rawson, and Ray Stovey. And I think that's everybody. It's 8 readers. And then I'm teaching some classes. I'm teaching a study called Essays on Suicide. That is a 2-hour class on October 24th, 1 to 3. It's a really personal subject to me, and I've written about it and had that essay published this past June. So the purpose of this is just to sit together and read about different perspectives and voices on suicide throughout the ages, do some writing in a very structured way, and kind of undo some taboos and stigmas around the subject, make it more conversable. And then another class that I'm teaching, writing about clothes in November, which will be another 2-hour thing.
Wow, those are both so Clueless specific as well.
Yeah. I mean, LA, it has its themes.
Do you have socials you want to share?
Yeah, Instagram, I'm at Katie_Lee_E. My website's KatieLeeEllison.com. Twitter sucks and isn't Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
But my website has all this stuff on it, and also my newsletter. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
this
for having me, you guys. I get so heavy, but it was super fun to talk to you guys. I'm glad you were willing to go there with me.
We can get pretty heavy.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
For sure. So yeah, it fits the vibe for sure.
Right.
If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to give us 5 stars on your preferred podcast app. If you did not enjoy it, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Jessica Baxter, Amy Green, and Christina Barr. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Blue Sky at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Paid in Puke is produced and edited by Divine Betty Media. Music by Silent Partner and Jessica Baxter. Thanks for listening. You're beautiful.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it